There is a phrase, often attributed to the American novelist Joan Didion, "We tell ourselves stories in order to live." Human beings survive through story. Nations are shaped by story. Families carry story. Churches hand on story. Even our wounds become stories we repeat to ourselves. An essay in the New York Times, adapted from Ben Rhodes' book The Battle of American Identity, recently grabbed my attention. The essay, reflecting on speech, identity, and public life, argues that societies are always battling over narrative: who we are, what matters, what future we imagine together. The challenge is not simply finding words, but finding truthful words capable of carrying hope. There is something striking about the vocabulary of this weekend's scriptures. They deliberately speak the language of hope. For a start, Zechariah imagines a king arriving not on a war horse, but on a donkey, not with domination, but gentleness. Walter Brueggemann observes that Zechariah offers a dramatic alternative to the endless cycles of military power and anxious control. God's future does not arrive through coercion, but through vulnerable trust. The prophet imagines the bows broken, the chariots dismantled, the instruments of violence handed over. In modern societies, many people carry burdens that were never meant to be carried alone. Grief, anxiety, addiction, loneliness, exhaustion. And some carry the hidden and often misunderstood burden of mental illness. One recent reflection in the Church Life Journal from Notre Dame University, Indiana, on bipolar disorder described the strange complexity of living with a mind that can move between exhilaration and darkness. Bipolar suffering is not merely sadness. It can involve unbearable weight, fractured energy, sleeplessness, impulsivity, shame, and exhaustion. Often those who suffer become experts at hiding it. They learn how to smile publicly while privately carrying a crushing interior burden. In a world struggling to find truthful and life-giving language, the gospel this weekend offers words of extraordinary tenderness. Come to me, all you who labor and are overburdened, and I will give you rest. The gospel is deeply connected to the theme of handing over, the burden, the illusion of control, the pretense that all is always fine. The irony is that modern culture often trains us in the opposite direction. We are encouraged to curate identity, construct image, maintain productivity, and constantly narrate ourselves online. Ben Rhodes notes how powerful speech and storytelling shape public identity. But perhaps one of the spiritual crises of our age is that many people no longer know what stories are true. St. Paul, writing to the Romans, speaks about life in the Spirit, stressing that the Spirit is not an escape from human fragility. The Spirit lives within fragility itself. The same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead dwells within wounded, anxious, and imperfect people. The Christian life does not revolve around the illusion that we can save ourselves. Its deepest movement is surrender. The donkey instead of the war horse, the burden handed over, the weary finding rest. The Spirit praying within us when our own words fail. Perhaps that is why Jesus says these truths are hidden from the clever and revealed to little ones. The little ones are not childish people. They are those who finally know they cannot save themselves. In truth, some of the most spiritually perceptive people are those who have suffered deeply. Those who live with bipolar disorder, depression, grief, or anxiety often understand something the culture forgets. Human beings are fragile creatures who need one another. The secular world knows this too. You do not need to be religious to recognize that many people are exhausted. We see it in rising loneliness, in mental health struggles, in polarized public discourse, in the pressure to constantly perform successfully. And into that exhaustion, Christ speaks not shame, but invitation. My yoke is easy and my burden light. Not because life becomes easy, but because no burden carried in love is carried alone. The deepest proclamation after Pentecost is not simply that the church has words to speak. It is that the Spirit gives breath to burdened people who thought they had no voice left. And perhaps that is the most important story we can tell one another. That gentleness is stronger than violence. That surrender is stronger than illusion. That wounded people are not abandoned. And that even now, beneath all the noise of the world, the Spirit is still teaching tired hearts how to breathe again. Amen.